Mukti or liberation in Advaita tradition is called Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means liberation while somebody is alive. It's not liberation is not after somebody is dead. Right? So there is a concept of Krama Mukti also. After somebody is dead, he will go to high Krama Mukti. Krama means the gradual. He will go to higher levels of lokas because he is not still liberated. Concept from the concepts of body, mind, and intellect. Typically, what happens is many people are intensely devotional. Okay, they worship a deity. Okay, they are so-called pious people, but not realized people. Okay, they have still a concept of body and mind and intellect, and there is a deity, whether it's Rama or Shiva or Krishna. So they will go to there is a concept of Krama Mukti, which means after death they will reach the loka of the deity. Whereas the Advaita tradition gives importance to Jivan Mukti, which means liberation while being alive. Right? So, what is special about liberation being alive? While he is alive, okay, the individual ego dissolves in the higher reality, supreme reality. Now, if individual ego dissolves in supreme reality, how it will be? How will it be? His life will be? What way life will be? Okay.
What is the question?
Say, Jivan Mukti means liberation while being alive, which means ego is dissolved. Alright? So now most of our life is, what we are doing in life is because ego is there. Without ego, you cannot function, right? Can you function without ego? You want to go to school, you want to go to study something, there is the ego required, which is actually, I want to do something, I have to survive. So dissolution of the ego is what we call Jivan Mukti. What is it? I want to do something is desire, but desire comes from the inner urge, which is inner urge or inner feeling of I, that is called ego. Now in Mukti there is a dissolution of the ego. So how such a person will live? Okay. So it is seen in many Jivan Mukta people that they stop all the many of these pujas, rituals and all. Right? Because the concept of an individual doer is gone. And the concept that there is a deity or God other than himself, other than the self is gone. Huh? So there the question comes whether he will continue to do what he was doing or he will not continue to do what he is doing. Right? It's a question of he means when you say he, you are referring to a body and mind. Right? But for him, he is not body and mind. There are two views, an external view and an internal view. Okay? The internal view is I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am Chaitanya, consciousness. Whereas externally, if somebody, if he does eat food and all, people see that he is eating food. Right?
No. Doesn't have an option but to go to work.
He means who? For him, he is not the body.
For him, it might not be, but he should do it. It's not that he doesn't have an option there.
The question is, who is he?
He's not doing the worship and all. He has the option not to do the job also.
He has option not to do job also. Right? So there is a difference there. Worship and all is optional, whereas doing the job is for survival. Let us say he doesn't do the job, he will not get food to eat. Survival becomes difficult.
That is what. He should
Doesn't do puja, nothing will happen.
So what Krishna says is that such a person, there are different categories of such persons. They are called Brahmavid, Brahmavara, Brahmavarenya, Brahmavarishta. Brahmavid is an example. All the four have internally the same knowledge. Internally there is no different knowledge. What is the knowledge? I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am Chaitanya. That is the knowledge for all the four categories. But their external behavior is four different categories. Right? Externally, they appear to be different to different people. Okay? So, Brahmavid, the example of Brahmavid is Krishna. Okay? He is interacting in the world normally. He is there in politics, he is in the war, everything he takes care. Right? Now, what makes, whereas take care of extreme care of Brahma Varishta, which is actually in case of this thing, example I can use Ramana Maharshi, Ajja and all. They are separate. They are not doing anything. Understand? So Brahmavid is what's participating in the world, participate in all the actions of the society, but nobody knows that he is a knower of Brahman. Brahmavara slightly becomes isolated from the society. Brahmavara, Brahmavarenya, he becomes for him it becomes very difficult to do survival need, for survival need also doing some work becomes very difficult. Then he starts living based on the begging. Brahma Varishta sits at one place and the food comes to him because people will come and give food. Okay? So, the example of Brahma Varishta is Ramana Maharshi. Example of Brahmavid is Krishna. These two extremes. Okay? You understand? Now the question which is asked is, will such a person, because now since ego is not there, he is beyond any rules and regulations of society. He means from the external perspective. The person whose ego has dissolved. Right? For him, there is no point when you are not doing prescribed duties of the society, rituals, puja and all. That means he is actually has gone beyond the dharmic rules. Will he go beyond and do something illegal? No. Why? Huh? Slowly.
Students will get into trouble.
Will he do something which is which is not acceptable in the society or something harmful to the society? Why he doesn't do that? Because he is free from ego. He has no connect to the society also in that sense.
No, but he will do so many things which society may consider it as this thing, but according to him, if it is useful for any thing, then he will do it.
So all his actions are called loka sangraha, means what it is for the something which will help benefit of the society. That's what is said. Then another thing which happens is that Yadnavalkya was there. Okay, Yadnavalkya had two wives, Katyayani and Maitreyi. Yadnavalkya was very well known. What you call as Rishi. He was doing puja. He was very well versed in the Vedic rituals, and he had made a lot of money also. He had earned a lot of money, okay, wealth. So one day he says to his wife, "I'll split the property between Katyayani and Maitreyi, and then go to forest. Okay, take sannyasa." Okay. Then Maitreyi asks him, "What? I don't want just this property. I want something much more valuable. Okay, which is valuable? What gives lasting happiness? Give me that." Then there's a famous sloka in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Atmareva dashtavyam shrotavyam Atmareva dashtavyam shrotavyam mantitavyam Maitreyi. This is a very famous sloka of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So For upliftment, only the Atma, the self itself has to be seen. Self alone has to be seen. Okay? Self alone, you have to hear about that. Atma only. Atma Reva, Drashtavyam, Shrotavyam, Mantitavyam. You have to contemplate on that. And Atma Reva Nididyavidyastavyam. You have to realize that. So that is the only way, Brahadaranita. Okay? So, Brahadaranita Upanishad, this says that. Just pause it, no? You can pause it. So now, why did so why did he take sannyasa? The question comes, why did he take sannyasa? Leaving all the work which he is doing, leaving the family, he goes to the forest. Okay, or take sannyasa. So what is the purpose of taking sannyasa in that case?
Surprised he waited 50 years.
One might be okay.
So there are two types of sannyasa. One is to know the self. Okay, Atma Dhnana Koskara, to gain the knowledge. You leave everything and go to take sannyasa. That's called Vidvisha sannyasa. Why is that required? So for studying anything, let us say for example, you want to become a master in one subject. So you have to focus on that. You have to leave out all other subjects and focus on that. For example, she wants to become a sculptor. So she has to leave all the other possibilities. There are a lot of temptations. And drop that and focus on that. That's called, to know the self, you have to take sannyasa. That's one option. The other option is the sannyasa of the knower. Somebody who has realized. So Yadnavalkya's case was a realized person. Okay, he is already realized. He has nothing more to realize for him. Then he takes the sannyasa, which is actually dropping all the social interactions. Okay. So this is also another example where a what you call as Jivan Mukta or a liberated soul can isolate from the society. This is actually from Brahmavid, he moves into Brahmavara or Brahmavaranya stage. Okay, isolation. Now why does that happen? What does it do? The motivation for doing any work will come down. The motivation for any work is ego. Initially there is a survival motivation, then growth, then recognition, all those motivations will come down. Then there is no meaningful work needs to be done or can be done by that individual because ego itself has subsided. So such a sannyasa or such a isolation is called the renunciation of the knower. Okay. So such a person can drop all the activities which are related to the work, a physical world, and spend time in more isolation.
He has dropped it. Why does he need to go anywhere?
No, he doesn't have to go anywhere. What I'm saying is there is no more social interactions, less social interactions.
Instead, he'll go to isolation.
In the sense, unnecessary social interactions will come down. Somebody will come and talk, all those things will come down.
He can lock himself in a room.
Possible. Possible.
Why don't they do that?
They may do that also. I'm giving the example of Yadnavalkya, who is a famous Which, Ramakrishna was there in his own place and he was teaching, right? Okay, he used to teach students. So this is actually for Lokasangrahartham, which means for benefit of the society and the world. Now, there's other question comes. He has a body, right? He thinks he has not a body, but if there is a pain in the body will be affected, right? Isn't it? So the question is, can you consider somebody as fully liberated as long as still the body is there? No. Yes or no? Because body will be always subject to pain and disease and all, right? Even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to have throat cancer. Ramana Maharshi had to have cancer of the body, sarcoma. So, is it possible that having the body itself, somebody can be considered as Videha Mukta, what you call Jivan Mukta? So then there is a concept of Videha Mukta. After the body dies, then complete freedom from the body. Okay. Jivan Mukta is he has having a body, but he doesn't consider himself to be a body. So because of that, reactions are very minimum, but still the pain of the body he has to see. Okay, so that's why there's a concept called Videha Mukta or Parinirvana, the final liberation. Nirvana and Parinirvana. Jivan Mukta and Videha Mukta. Videha Mukta is Mukti without body, which happens at the time of death. So, but the enlightenment or liberation has to happen while you are alive, not after death. Why? The mind, body, intellect has to be there and it should be purified. Any questions?
Sannyasi do their suicide to
Why?
get out of the body.
So there is a concept actually, there used to be there. What happens is if you are enlightened, body is a burden, body is a bondage. Okay, so drop the body by doing suicide. That's what some sannyasis used to do.
But there's a difference, right?
What is the difference?
Suicide is forcefully killing yourself, whereas what people do is they give up their body with their consent,
No, it is like as long as the body lives, you drop. For example, Nandev, Sant Nandev, he was enlightened at the age of 10. Okay, he wrote a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, and at the age of 16, which is he entered into Jivanta Samadhi, physically alive. What happens in physically alive is that they entered into a cave. The cave will be closed, sealed. Okay, so that the breathing stops and they die. So this is what is called in a modern way it is called sanya. What you call it is actually suicide, but they don't do suicide there. What happens is that the yogic way they block all the pranic energy, and the Jivatma or Paramatma, the merger happens through Brahmarandra, the top of the head.
that is with their
Ne-
parents, they went into lake and
Yeah, his parents,
suicide.
that is suicide because they are not enlightened ones.
Suicide is the forceful killing of
Now what happens is that for yoga, for those who are yogis, right, there are actually called Ashtabandha. There are 8 parts of the body you can block. You can create Mula Bandha, Jalandhara Bandha, okay, Uddiyana Bandha. Then what happens is the prana gets blocked. Now the prana has to escape. There is no way for the prana to escape. So it will escape through Ajna Chakra or Sahasrara. So that is actually what we call as yogic paralysis. That's the highest way of living the prana. The prana merges with the universal prana. But what I'm saying is that's why I don't recommend that type of bandha based yogic practices. Kevala Kumbhaka. What happens is when you take breathe in and breathe out, there's a pause. If you focus on the pause will increase. That's called Kevala Kumbhaka. That's not forced. That's natural. But there is also a forced kumbhaka, in which case prana moves upwards and hits the Ajna chakra and breaks it open. No, there will be no problem, but that's what is yogic way of living the body, if you are not enlightened, or even if you are enlightened.
Maybe it is purified the body, mind, and intellect. If you directly get enlightened without the body, then this thing, this purification.
But there's no enlightenment possible without the body. Body is required for enlightenment. Body is required for enlightenment. Otherwise, you'll not be interacting in the world and finding out what is right, what is wrong, what is correct, what is not correct. So
But enlightenment is okay, I'm not the body, mind, and intellect.
that is after you realize. Like if you, now you came here by train. To come here, you need a train. After coming here, you don't need a train.
No, he will say, I am not trained anyway, what is the use?
The body and mind is required till you reach the destination. Any questions? Anything? Yeah. 32, at the age of 32. No, people say that he went to Himalayas and from there he disappeared. Not Shankaracharya. That was this guy, this Vivekananda. Shankaracharya didn't die. Shankaracharya,
Vivekananda willingly gave up his body.
Might be 6 o'clock.
no, diabetes. Diabetes. He had severe diabetes. He died of diabetes. At that time, diabetes didn't have a medicine solution.
But the story says that he said people that I'm from the he came to know that he's going to die.
He lived in the Advaita Ashram in Himalayas for last 1 to 2 years of his life. And almost he had, diabetes had eaten his life.
So a realized person can move from Brahmavid to Brahmavaranya, Brahma. They can still. It's not like they get
That's Prarabdha karma gets over, they'll start moving.
moving towards the last Brahmavarishna.
They can, depending on the Prarabdha karma.